Book 9, Part 1 of Ovid's Metamorphoses. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Drew Altschul. Metamorphoses by Publius Ovidius Naso. Translated by Brooks Moore. Book 9, Part 1. To him the hero, who proclaimed himself a favoured son of Neptune, answered now, "Declare the reason of your heavy sighs, and how your horn was broken." And at once the Caledonian river god replied, binding with reeds his unadorned rough locks, "It is a mournful task you have required, for who can wish to tell his own disgrace? But truly I shall speak without disguise, for my defeat, if rightly understood, should be my glory. Even to have fought in battle with a hero of such might affords me consolation. Deianira, you may have heard some tales of her, was once the envied hope of many. She was then a lovely virgin. I, among the rest who loved this maiden, entered the fair home of her great father Aeneas, and I said, "Consider all my claims, Partheian's son, for I am come to plead your daughter's cause and mine, so you may make me son-in-law." No sooner was it said, than Hercules in such words also claimed the virgin's hand. All others quickly yielded to our claims. He boasted his descent from Jupiter, the glory of his labours and great deeds performed at his unjust stepmother's wish. But as he was not then a god, it seemed disgraceful if my state should yield my right. So I contended with these haughty words. Why should this alien of a foreign land, contending for your daughter, match himself to me, king of the waters in this realm? For as I wind around across your lands, I must be of your people, and a part of your great state. Oh, let it not be said, because the jealous Juno had no thought to punish me by labours, my descent is not so regal. This tremendous boast that you, Alcmena's son, are sprung from Jove, falls at the touch of truth, or it reveals the shame of a weak mother, who so gained your doubtful glory of descent from heaven. Prove your descent from Jupiter is false, or else confess you are the son of shame." But Hercules, unable to control the flame of his great wrath, scowled as I spoke. He briefly answered me, "My hand excels my tongue. Let me now overcome in fight, and I may suffer your offensive words." Full of unvented rage he rushed on me, but firm I stood, ashamed to yield a foot. I had so largely boasted, no retreat was left. And so I doffed my green robe, striking guard, with clenched hands doubled at my breast. I stood my ground. He scooped up his hand fine, yellow dust, and tossed it on the air, so that the tawny powder sprinkled us. Quick shifting, then he sought to strike my neck, or feint at my quick-moving legs, and turned swift-moving to attack me at all points. But as a huge cliff in the sea remains unmoved, unshaken by the sounding waves, so my great size, against his vain attacks, defended me securely. Back we went, retiring for a space, then rushed again together. Furious and with foot to foot, determined not to yield, defiant stood, till, forward bending from my waist and hips, I pressed my forehead against his and locked his fingers into mine. So have I seen two strong bulls rush in combat for the good of some smooth heifer in the pasture, while the herd tremble and uncertain wait, ready to give allegiance to the one most worthy of dominion. Thrice in vain Hercules strove to push my breast from his, but I pressed ever closer, till the fourth attempt succeeding, he unloosed my grip, and breaking from my circling arms, drew back, and struck me such a buffet with his hand, it twisted me about, and instantly he clung with all his weight upon my back. Believe me, I have not suppressed the truth. Nor shall I try to gain applause not due. I seemed to bear a mountain on my back. Straining and dripping sweat, I broke his hold. With great exertion I unlocked his grip. He pressed upon me as I strained for breath, preventing a renewal of my strength, and seized upon my neck. Then, at last, my bent knee went down on the gritty earth. I bit the sand. So worsted in my strength, I sought diversion by an artifice, and changed me to a serpent. I then slipped from his tight clutches my great length, and coiled my body now transformed to snaky folds. Hissing, I darted my divided tongue. But Hercules, Alcides, only laughed, and in derision of my scheming said, "It was pastime of my cradle days to strangle better snakes than you, and though your great length may excel all of your kind, how small a part of that Lernaean snake would you, one serpent, be? It grew from wounds I gave. At first it had 100 heads, and every time I severed one from its neck, 2 grew there in the place of 1, by which its strength increased. This creature then, outbranching with strong serpents, sprung from death and thriving on destruction, I destroyed. What do you think will then become of you, disguised so in deceitful serpent form, wielding a borrowed weapon not your own?" And after he had ridiculed me thus, he gouged his fingers underneath my jaws so that my throat was tortured, as if squeezed with forceps, while I struggled in his grip. Twice was I vanquished. There remained to me a third form, so again I changed to seem a savage bull, and with my limbs renewed in that form, fought once more. He threw his arms about the left side of my ponderous neck, and dragging on me followed as I ran. He seized on my hard horns, and tugging turned and twisted me, until he fastened them firm in the surface of the earth, and pushed me, helpless, to the shifting sand beneath. Not yet content, he laid his fierce right hand on my tough horn, and broke and tore it from my mutilated head. This horn, now heaped with fruits delicious and sweet-smelling flowers, the Naiads have held sacred from that hour, devoted to the bounteous goddess Plenty. All this the river god said. Then a nymph, a lovely nymph like a fair Diana dressed, whose locks were flowing down on either side, came graceful to the board, and brought to them of autumn's plenty in an ample horn, and gave to them selected apples for a second course. And now, as early dawn appeared, and as the rising sunlight flashed on golden summits of surrounding hills, the young men waited not until the stream, subsiding, had resumed its peaceful way, but all arose, reluctant, and went forth. Then Achilles, in his moving waves, hid his fine rustic features in his head, scarred by the wound which gave the horn of Plenty. Loss of his horn had greatly humbled him. It was so cherished through his only loss, that he could hide the sad disgrace with reeds and willow boughs entwined about his head. O Nessus, your fierce passion for the same maid utterly destroyed even you, pierced through the body by a flying arrow point. Returning to the city of his birth, great Hercules, the son of Jupiter, with his new bride, arrived upon the bank of swift Evenus, after winter rains had swollen it so far beyond its wont that, full of eddies, it was found to be impassable. The hero stood there, brave but anxious for his bride. Nessus, the centaur, strong-limbed and well acquainted with those fords, came up to him and said, "Plunge in the ford and swim with unimpeded strength, for with my help she will land safely over there." And so the hero, with no thought of doubt, trusted the damsel to the centaur's care, though she was pale and trembling with her fear of the swift river and the centaur's aid. This done, the hero, burdened as he was, with quiver and the lion-skin, for he had tossed his club and curving bow across the river to the other bank, declared, "Since I have undertaken it, at once this rushing water must be overcome." And instantly he plunged in without thought of where he might cross with most ease, for so he scorned to take advantage of smooth water. And after he had gained the other bank, while picking up his bow which there was thrown, he heard his wife's voice, anxious for his help. He called to Nessus, who was in the act then to betray his trust. "Vain confidence! You are not swift enough, vile ravisher. You two-formed monster, Nessus, I warn you. Hear me, and never dare to come between me and my love. If fear has no restraint, your father's dreadful fate on whirling wheel should frighten you from this outrageous act, for you cannot escape. Although you trust the fleet-foot effort of a rapid horse, I cannot overtake you with my feet, but I can shoot and halt you with a wound." His deed sustained the final warning word. He shot an arrow through